Welcome to this edition of Mi Sangre es Tu Sangre. I am your host, Roger Reis, Señor Sangre. And in this episode, we'll be talking to Laura, who at a very young age was involved in a horrible automobile accident that took the life of her mother and required her to need several units of blood to stay alive. Hear how she's paying it forward and encourages others to do the same. Today, joining me is Laura Burse. She is a good friend of mine, but also I've known her for almost 4 years. We met at a blood drive at our San Antonio Missions blood drive that we had here 4 years ago. It was right after COVID, and she's been a great addition of help and knowledge. But I don't have to tell you that. I'll let her tell you that. Laura, welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Roger. Such an honor. And you're a true blue friend as well. I'm so grateful for the years we've known each other. And I'm definitely grateful for all the ways you and the team have always enabled all of us to support anything that can help others.
Awesome. So, Laura, I'm going to ask something of you. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? And I know that they know how we've met now, but just a little bit about you before we jump into your story and your journey.
Certainly. So my name is Laura. I'm a proud mama of an adult daughter and certainly enjoy living here in San Antonio, Texas. I've had the awesome honor of being involved with some nonprofit initiatives in a variety of ways through the years as being a resident here. And one of the great nonprofits being the South Texas Blood and Tissue through blood donation and other ways. And it's just always exciting in a time and place that the need can be great and ongoing in a variety of ways. Certainly at any point, blood donations are critically important, certainly to save lives, but also to improve lives for those that need those donations, those life-saving transfusions, donations. And I mention transfusions because I'm a recipient of a life-saving transfusion. So my backstory and why I'm committed to continuing to donate is many years back, 1983, my family and I were driving in a family vehicle, and were struck. My father was injured, and my mother tragically was killed outright in the accident. And I was a young girl of 14. So I was in the back seat and was grievously injured myself, along with my father. Glass shattered on top of me from the back window and just tremendous numbers of lacerations and broken bones. So given the large amounts of blood that I was losing immediately to save my life, certainly to save my arm and to save my life, they determined at the hospital that I was taken to that I did need a transfusion. So I did receive that, thankfully, due to the generosity of donors at that place in time. Adequate blood was available for me. My life was saved. My arm was saved. And through the years, I've come to this point now, and I'm, again, so honored to be able to donate with this organization.
So you told us a little bit about that story, but tell us a little bit more. If you can go into detail of kind of like how many days you spent in the hospital, because you and I have shared that a little bit about, and if you're okay opening up and talking about that, of just kind of how that went and how that all rolled out.
Of course. So mind you, it's a bit of a blur. My injuries were severe. 3 of my 4 limbs were in casts to varying degrees. So it was just 2 days after the school year had ended. So it was at the very start of summer break, 1:00 in the afternoon. My family and I, after church, had done a little shopping in the next town over. We're driving back, and at one of these pretty remote country intersections, that's when the car accident occurred. So there probably was even a little passage of time before the ambulances were on site. And so we were each taken to different hospitals. As I mentioned, tragically, my mother was deceased. My father was thrown from the car and had some broken ribs, whiplash. And then my injuries, I was alive, but severely injured. I was taken to another hospital. And initially, the plan was to amputate my arm. They just felt the damage with this was my left arm, by the way. They felt the damage was so severe that there was just no saving it. And my father said, no, please, let's transport her to a different hospital in another town. And so they did. And they were able to determine with that life saving transfusion that I received, saved my life, saved my left arm, and remained in the hospital for quite a while, was discharged. As happens, my injuries were not fully detected during my initial stay. So I ended up going back into the hospital a week after I was discharged for further surgery. And what followed were appointments with physical therapist, psychiatrists, not surprisingly, my general practitioner, who was largely responsible for saving my arm at that second hospital I was taken to, um, plastic surgeon, of course, for all the scarring that I was undergoing, and at least one other specialty doctor. So it was, my father was a true hero. You know, there was no family, and he just basically had to balance still working with driving me because we were in rural Georgia. It was very distant from other towns, driving me from city to city to see specialists. But again, I'm grateful that I'm here today, and I'm grateful for the donors at that time and place in 1983 in Georgia that with it being a rural place, there's so many caring individuals that knew that this would make a difference.
So with that happening, where did it come into play where you would said, okay, uh, I'm a recipient of blood and now I am ready to give back. Where did that come and how did that change happen? Because you are a blood
So
donor.
yes, that's right. So um, as is often the case, I think there will be somebody in our lives that we end up being very inspired by for a variety of reasons. And in my case, it is my daughter. I am Sophie's mom, first and foremost. And my daughter was a tremendous inspiration for becoming involved in a variety of nonprofits, supporting them, and certainly with the blood donation. She's a healthy girl, and fortunately, I'm healthy as well. And so, when an opportunity arose before we met, some years before you and I met, Roger, to donate, I went for it, and it was just so easy. And it was so rewarding coming away from that in such a brief amount of time. Really, donations take no more than an hour in most cases. Certainly in mine, it takes quite a bit less time. I'm fortunate to get that completed even quicker than many do, I think. It was painless. It was satisfying. The staff were just so kind. And so I really started on that journey of blood donation and then had continued to. And then when you and I met at that blood donation bus by the Mission Stadium, I remember the day very well. Just finished donating. You and I talked, and then we went from there. And just really, it's just been a great partnership.
Um, for somebody who doesn't know, what is your routine like before you donate? Because I know a lot of people have that fear of having a needle in their arm, but what is your prep and how do you get ready for a blood donation? I know we tell people to eat and hydrate, but if you can talk about your preparation and coming in and donating on a regular basis.
So I think staying hydrated is really kind of one of the watch phrases of our age. And my daughter certainly is always, "Mom, drink water or hydrate." Everyone knows that if you're a well hydrated person, you can function better. So I do try to take a special care of drinking plenty of fluids beforehand. I personally also try to time when my donation will be. Some it may just work better for them later in the day. South Texas Blood and Tissue always offers a variety of locations and times where you can schedule your appointment and even do a check-in beforehand just to arrive and get started soon. So certainly trying to stay hydrated on a regular basis and certainly beforehand, scheduling an appointment that works well with me, usually being able to pick from a wide variety of appointment times and locations. and eating something healthful with some good iron in it. I love grits. And so any sort of good, wholesome cereal that has some good nutrients in it, I think is wise to try and get in a good, healthy meal beforehand. Hopefully with some protein and just nutrient enriched, just so that you're at your best when you donate.
Awesome. So, uh, coming from the donor side now, you talked about your prep. Now, actually, could you talk about maybe somebody who's never thought about donating, what that process looks like as once you walk into the facility, from start to finish? If you can go through a little bit of that, of what you see and how you interact with staff. I know you said staff was great, but if you can tell us a little bit about that.
So, what's so cool is that there are so many staff members in all the different locations. So, you may see the same people again and again, or you may meet someone new, but they're all uniformly energetic and kind and competent and talented and committed to the mission. And so, you just arrive. If you're going to be a first time donor, you're going to arrive at the place that you've scheduled. If you're a high school student, maybe your school's arranged for a bus to come to your campus, and they've probably coached you a little bit on how to sign up for a specific time. I imagine a lot of people start as high school students donating, which is really smart, I think, or maybe college students. Um, and there'll be, if you haven't done the handy check-in on the app on your phone beforehand, and it's just answering a series of questions with some places that you've traveled to and other behavioral components. You'll do that upon arrival or via the app on your phone, as I just mentioned. And I think that's a great opportunity when you're meeting one-on-one with the staff, if you're doing the questions on site. If you have any concerns or you're uncertain, you can speak to them. They're going to take your blood pressure. They're going to do a little pin prick up your finger to make sure your iron levels are good. And you can ask any questions you have at that point or any concerns. And then you'll just maybe wait another minute or a couple of minutes, and they'll be taken to your table and you'll be made comfortable. They'll ask you which arm you want to do your whole blood donation from, if you're doing whole blood. And so you're really kind of in control of a lot of it. And then this is the part that people like, well, what's it going to be like with the needle insertion? So, yep, it's a needle, but these are very skilled technicians and professionals, and they know, they're gauging your comfort level. And so there's no big rush or anything. If you need a second to collect yourself, they're going to be great about that too. But then the actual insertion of the needle, I never feel it. Me personally, it's just always no problem at all. And they'll have a lot to look at while you're sitting there waiting. And so the time flies and you'll be done before you know it.
So once you're on that bed, I think that's where people like, how long is that needle going to be in there? Can you talk a little bit about that, from start to finish in that process, just that one process?
So I believe it can be 20 to 40 minutes. Feel free to correct me here, Roger. I'm just the donor. You're definitely that trained professional. In my case, it's usually closer to the 20. I just fortunately, I guess I'm healthy and can remit the blood a little quickly. In the past, there were times where I felt a little chilly. Just, it was for some reason I was healthy, but I did. And they brought over a warm blanket to me and they put it on my lap. And that was very comforting. So maybe if someone's feeling maybe if they're at the lower end of the weight, you have to be within a certain weight range to donate because they want you to be healthy and to donate, but to come away from it feeling good. You can ask for the blanket, or you can ask questions of the staff during it. If you have any concerns during the process, multitudes of staff are all around at any point.
So yeah, so the actual time that the needle is actually in the arm is actually 8 to 10 minutes is the average time.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so
Wow.
it may seem like 20 minutes, but it's actually about 8 minutes. I remember going and sitting with you the last time, and it was pretty fast. It was like It was between the 8 and 10 minutes of that needle actually in your arm. I know because you and I talk a
Well,
lot, so it may have been seemed like longer, but it's actually
yeah,
eight
I think
eight
it
minutes.
was. Oh gosh. And I think I'm probably thinking of the whole procedure with the question and then the wait. So, yes, it is an extremely expedient. So, yeah.
So, donating now, you've done it multiple times, and you are a multi-gallon donor now. Talk about that. Did you ever think you would be a multi-gallon donor, and how many gallons have you donated now?
So, I think I'm just over 3 gallons. And I'm amazed. However, I'm definitely taking account of the multitudes of other donors who have just given so much as well. The one gentleman, there was an event at the BioBridge Global facilities in the last couple of days that I attended for the sign, the new sign that's out front. Beautiful sign. And the one gentleman was there and he's donated 153 gallons, I believe, something extraordinary over the course of his life. It sounds like he's never missed iteration where he could donate. So that's remarkable. So a worthy goal for me to continue to aim towards. I think he probably got started maybe at the youngest age possible because that is a lot. So I don't know that I'll ever hit that many, but whatever amount I give, it's pretty amazing knowing that I've been able to impact a life in a way, possibly that my life was saved, particularly with, and you may be bringing this up with the program Heroes in Arms. And if you want to mention that, I'll be glad to talk to that as well. But point of all this being is it's I don't know that I would have ever expected to have this particular opportunity at this point. So it really is astonishing.
And yeah, so I that was my actually next question that you were talking about the Heroes at Arms program. For some of those who don't know, they're at South Texas Blood and Tissue. They have, of course, you can donate blood, but they have a special program called the Heroes in Arms program, where special individuals who are a certain blood type can donate for patients, and be that blood will be used at the scene of the accident or the emergency before they arrive to the hospital. So kind of unique program that Laura has is part of. So tell us a little bit about that and how being part of that program has been.
So I believe it was originally Brothers in Arms because it was men O positive that could donate. And through a variety of research methods, women, it was determined, could be added based on criteria that I was tested during just a whole blood donation. They were able to run the test to see if I would be eligible for my blood to be part of what then became Heroes in Arms, changing from Brothers in Arms, strictly men, to Heroes being everyone eligible. And so incredibly exciting. I ended up being the fourth woman in San Antonio to be able to donate as a Heroes in Arms. You had your big opening that Saturday, and then the next day, Sunday, I donated, and just um, humbling. I don't really even know how to put it into words to know that again, my blood, having started this at such a young age, really through a trauma situation, being 14 years old and needing that transfusion because of the trauma that I was physically going through, knowing that my whole blood donation can be used as needed in the Heroes in Arms program is, I don't know that sometimes I fully have realized just how much it means to me. It really, truly means so much to me. Um, there have been recognition events that I've been able to observe for the Heroes in Arms donors and others that have led the program. And it is very special and it's global. I've really been impressed at another event. Roger, you and I attended a luncheon where some of the incredibly legendary medical staff that have been involved in blood donation at the global level. This is a big deal. I just think knowing that millions can go through trauma at any point throughout the years, anywhere in the world, knowing that this program is in place here and hopefully beyond, and certainly hopefully into rural areas. That will be, I think, an important direction to go in, that it'll be available there too. Um, Life saving, certainly.
And it's just kind of astonishing how a little bit of your time can mean the difference or the world of difference for somebody in a trauma or somebody who's going through cancer or whatever that may be, illness that may have. What you as an individual can do for somebody in their darkest hour.
Right.
So with that, what are your goals? I mean, as not only as a blood donor, but what are some of your goals that you hope to accomplish here, um, giving back to your community?
So we're in a very special community here in South Texas, San Antonio, and north of here, just the whole region. Um, my personal goal is certainly to continue. I want to stay healthy, be healthy, to continue in this program that I'm in. I want to continue to achieve those great pins that they send out at certain benchmarks of gallon donation. Again, I don't know that I can catch the man with 153 gallons, but I can keep going. And I just want to continue to learn. Again, I am very impressed with the scholarship that goes into this. I mean, it it's for the heart. It grabs the heart in that it saves lives. But I find it incredibly intellectually stimulating that some truly astonishing minds have gone into making this safe, life affirming, life saving, backed with tremendous research. Um, I think everybody involved, from the staff at the pavilion, South Texas Blood and Tissue Pavilion, who converse with hospitals about what they might have on their roster and what they would need blood for on a given day. Those people are heroes to me. And they're the I feel like the secret heroes of the city in some ways. And so I want to continue to learn about all of it. And it's my honor, and I want to continue this for certain, to share my experience with others. This way, I had an opportunity earlier this morning to share my story with several, and whoever it is, sharing that story, sharing what I've seen, what I've experienced, so that in the way that is right and supportable for them, they can also support blood donation and platelet donation and tissue donation, all of it.
Right. And so thank you for always being an advocate for blood donation. So in a minute or so, can you summarize, for somebody who's never donated blood or who's on the fence of why they should consider and probably make that step to become a blood donor?
So you don't have, one doesn't have to do it, but I urge anyone that's interested, take a tour if you can of the facility at the pavilion, because I think when you see the cooler where the available blood supply is, it's very, it makes it very um, immediate how great the need is at any given time. Certainly with the storm barrel affecting Houston and the coast in the way that it did. This isn't a one time only event. We have crisis all of the time, anywhere, necessitating blood for those that need it to save their lives, to improve whatever injury they've gone through. Certainly anyone going through cancer, any of it. The need is great and ongoing. The population isn't lessening, so it'll be ever increasing. And to have the impact of one whole blood donation saving up to 3 lives, help any nonprofit in the way that's right for you. But I think you're hard pressed to be as impactful as 30 minutes of your time saving up to 3 lives. I just find that an astonishing statistic. And there are so many ways to support the mission as well. So, but certainly the outright blood donation is an immediate and great way to do so.
Well, Laura, well put. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us here today. Is there anything else that you want to add that maybe I didn't ask?
No, I think it's just a very exciting time to be involved, and there are great changes occurring. A lot of new donors being in with everyone, and it's just growing. It's just a very heartening, evolving time to be involved in blood, platelet, and tissue donation. So,
Well, Laura, thank you again for joining us here today, and I look forward to many more conversations with you and to see you at your next donation.
you'll see me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing your story, your journey of what you and your family went through at a very young age, and sharing how you now pay that forward to others and helping our community as a multi-gallon donor. For sharing about a little bit about the Heroes in Arms program and what that is about, and how you go through the process of preparing for a blood donation and how that actually is once you show up to a blood drive. So thank you for that information and for sharing with us. And in the next episode, we'll talk to somebody else who's benefited from blood donations as well. But also, we'll learn a little bit in future episodes about the Heroes in Arms program and some other programs that are out there that might intrigue you to start donating if you haven't done so already. Until the next time, thank you for joining us.